Well, hello, this is Deborah Johnson with the Power of After Show, and this show is all about helping those at mid-career, halftime of life, move forward, actually just to plan that next chapter of your life with purpose. And a lot of times people are feeling stuck right at this point. And today is all about the mindset shift that works. So many feel anxious at this time. And so have you ever felt anxious lately or stuck? Anxiety has become a familiar word in today's world, and for good reason, because a significant portion of the population is navigating its effect daily, often in quiet, unseen ways. I mean, I even see anxiety in the smallest moment, like our little dog pacing the gate if I step away even just for a few minutes. But for many in mid career, halftime of life, the deeper tension isn't just anxiety, it's just that question beneath it. What's next? Well, maybe there's less energy for what used to excite you, or the realization that even a full life can feel incomplete or without purpose. And not because something was wrong, but because growth was happening. And this happened with me because I wanted to make sure I was ready for that growth. And much like an earthquake, I'm in Southern California here, an earthquake can reveal issues with areas not structurally reinforced. Similar moments of disruption can expose the mindset patterns that we've been relying on. And so this episode is all about strengthening your internal foundation because the shift that moves you forward isn't just about doing more. It's just about thinking differently. So stay tuned. You've spent years building what matters. Now, with Power of After courses and elite mentorship, it's time to move forward with intention and impact. This is the Power of After Show. Let's get started. In 1994, during the Northridge earthquake, several freeway overpasses in Los Angeles, California, suddenly collapsed. Now, this was very relevant to me as I attended CSUN, which was California State University, Northridge, and I had driven over many of those streets and overpasses for several years when I was a student, actually before the time the earthquake hit. Now, these weren't old, neglected structures. They were engineered, they were approved, and they were in use every single day. And they were so strong, so everyone thought. But then, in a matter of seconds, the ground shifted violently beneath them, and the forces were sudden. Direction changed rapidly, and pressure came from angles the structures weren't fully prepared to handle, and key sections gave way. And some support columns cracked and failed, and in other places, entire roadway sections slipped off their supports. And what once had carried thousands of cars without question, well, they could no longer carry anything at all. And for the drivers on those roads, well, there was no warning. I mean, two freeways on top of each other, they just collapsed, if you've ever seen that footage. And what looked solid, it just wasn't strong enough for what it faced. Well, it's easy to look at something like that and say, well, how could that ever happen? But the real answer is both simple and sobering. It wasn't just about strength. It was about what the structure was prepared to handle. And some parts didn't have enough flexibility, and some connections weren't reinforced enough, and some critical areas had no backup support when they failed. So when the pressure exceeded the design, the structure didn't bend, it broke. Now, people are not so different. Many of us just look so strong on the outside. We carry responsibilities and we show up and we keep moving forward. But underneath, oh, there may be areas that are undersupported, stretched too thin, and never reinforced in the first place. So I'm going to talk here about the weight of anxiety and stress. Both of those are buzzwords today. And anxiety is often used today in many circles. And that's because It's a common symptom, as over 20% of our population in the US is being treated for some type of anxiety. Now, even our little dog is very anxious at times. If I go into the back of our property for anything, she's scratching at the gate or she's waiting for me at the door like I've been gone for a whole month. Well, at some point in mid career, what I often call halftime, many people quietly begin asking that deeper question, well, what's next? It doesn't always come in a dramatic moment, and sometimes it shows up with maybe a lack of energy for what used to excite you, or a sense that you should be really further along, or a quiet realization that while life may look successful on the outside, something feels completely incomplete on the inside. And many changes happen at this stage of life. We all of a sudden we know the train, we're on that train, right? And it keeps moving. Children grow up and responsibilities shift. Some feel called to new work, and also relationships evolve, often sending marriages in different directions. This is one of the key pivotal time of life where that happens. And I've experienced some of those changes myself in different seasons. Um, there have been moments where everything looked full, all of my work and the responsibilities and opportunities, but internally I knew something needed to shift and something needed to change. Not because I had failed, but because I had grown. And this is a space where your next chapter begins. But there's a challenge most people don't talk about enough. It's not a lack of opportunity, but it's the weight of anxiety and stress. And sometimes that comes with just expectations, and that quietly holds you back. So, what's the hidden cost of stress at mid career? Well, stress is not just an inconvenience, it's a significant factor affecting both physical and mental health. According to the American Institute of Stress, 77% of people regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress, and 73% experience psychological symptoms such as anxiety or overwhelm. And anxiety, a lot of times, is on the inside that we feel, and the stress comes, it may be from outside stress. So, but both of those work together. And at mid career, these pressures often just intensify. And you may be balancing financial responsibilities, aging parents, supporting children, or even grandchildren, career uncertainty, or transition. The World Health Organization, they've identified burnout as a global concern. That's a generalization, but they're right, describing it as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that's not been successfully managed. That's a good definition. And just like those freeway overpasses that have collapsed, our bodies aren't prepared to handle a huge shakeup. But here's what's important to recognize. At this stage of life, stress often it becomes internalized, and that's when it really becomes dangerous. It sounds like this. We're talking to ourselves here. I should have had this figured out by now. Or, am I too late to change? I mean, I'm getting older. Or, oh, what if I make the wrong move now? How embarrassing. Or, how sobering. I mean, I don't have that much time left. And this creates kind of a constant internal noise. It's subtle, but it's exhausting. And I often compare it to a persistent ringing in your ears. It may not be loud enough to stop you completely, but it's always there, like tinnitus, draining your energy and your focus, that ringing, ringing, ringing. So here's how stress can impact your ability to move forward. This is kind of depressing, but it really should spur us on to do something about it. When stress becomes chronic, it affects how you think and respond. So, research from the American Psychological Association, it shows that prolonged stress can impair decision making, it can reduce cognitive flexibility, and it can limit your creativity. Oh, I don't want my creativity limited, but all of those are essential when we navigate change. So instead of moving forward, you might find yourself just overthinking instead of acting. You might be avoiding decisions, or you might be staying in roles that you feel safe but unfulfilling, questioning your ability to learn something new. And this comes with confidence of moving forward and the courage to do that. Sometimes you're just stuck, you just stay there. It's easier just to stay in one place, you feel like, but you're going to just be sinking lower and lower. And this is where mindset becomes the turning point for true change. And I'm going to talk about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. I've talked about this a lot in my books and also just in my messaging and my podcasts. But it's very, very relevant. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research, she's written a great book on mindset, but her research on mindset, it provides a powerful framework. And a fixed mindset, it believes that, well, this is just who I am. How many times have I heard that? This is just who I am. I'm either good at this or I'm not. Or change is risky. Oh, here's another one. I'm too old. And technology is just moving way too fast. Wow. I mean, that actually is very relevant today because it is moving fast. But a growth mindset, it believes that I can learn this. New skills can be developed, challenges or opportunities, and I'm going to continue to read and learn. That's a lifelong learner attitude and very, very important. At mid-career, a fixed mindset often hides behind experience. How many puffed up resumes have we heard? I've heard a whole lot, especially I've been in the arts. A lot of puffed up resumes, and people keep wanting to just put those same things out over and over again, but life changes. So, but here's something that could be hiding behind that experience. I've never been good with technology, and I'm too far along to try something new or to start something new. Or I should already know this. I mean, that's kind of hiding behind some of our experience. Huh, I'm too far along to start something new. Well, it's time to think about maybe starting something new, or at least reading and growing. All of this self-talk, it can either move one forward or it can keep one stuck in the same place, opening up opportunity for even more stress to take over. But a growth mindset, it reframes the entire conversation because you're not starting over. All you're doing is upgrading. You're reinforcing the pillars. And one of the most powerful shifts you can make is this. You're not starting from zero, and you're building on years of experience, hard-earned skills, relationships, and perspective. And just think of some of the advice you give your kids. Okay, think hard. You don't have to think too hard about this because if you've raised a family, if you've raised kids, and you find yourself at a certain point, um, they're in a certain situation, all of a sudden, you're thinking, hey, been there, done that. And you faced many of those same situations. Now, they may not listen to you, but you have the experience and the insight to see roadblocks and warning signs. That perspective is extremely valuable. And I find the older our kids get, the more they listen, or at least they remember some of those principles, if we're lucky. Now, I've seen some build on their experience and perspective many times, not only in my own life, but in the others I've worked with. I mean, a musician becomes a teacher. They've rediscovered some of their love for teaching. In fact, I've done some of this same things in my life. I've been a professional musician for a long time, also an instructor for a long time. But the part about teaching and speaking that I love is online work. I love the podcast format. I love recording. I love doing video. I like doing the technical aspect of it. It's fun. It's creative. A corporate leader becomes a consultant. I have interviewed many of them. They're very successful in what they do because they usually are able to successfully focus on an area. A parent returning to the workforce brings unmatched organizational and relational skills. If you've raised kids, yes, I want to reaffirm those skills. Those are great. if you can add that to an organization, we need people to do that. That's not always taken over by AI. Some of it is, but not a lot, relational especially. The foundation is already there. So what changes is how you apply it and the questions that you ask. So instead of asking, what if I fail? You begin asking, what can I learn from this? It's a great question. That one shift reduces the pressure and it really opens possibility. I'm a big journaler, and I think not. I don't write a lot, but I write a little every day, most days. And just those little lines of what can I learn from this is great to write down. So, what is the role of learning take in reducing anxiety? This is good. One of the most effective ways to reduce fear is through action, and specifically learning. It will dispel what's not known. And when you begin learning something new, confidence increases, uncertainty decreases, and momentum builds. And with AI right now, there is just no excuse. There is so much information available for everyone, free, just free. So, studies on lifelong learning show that continued skill development in midlife, it improves both cognitive function and emotional resilience. And that doesn't require large, overwhelming steps. It requires small, consistent ones. So, I want to talk about the apprentice mindset. One of the most freeing perspectives that you can adopt is the mindset of an apprentice. And at this stage, well, you are both experienced and learning. That's not a contradiction. It's an advantage. An apprentice mindset says, well, I don't need to know everything. I'm willing to learn. I can take the next step. My mother tells me the story of my pediatrician when I was very young. I think his name was Dr. Kruger. Boy, that name just came out from nowhere. And she said when we would go to his little doctor's office there for my checkup, that sometimes when they were talking about something, he would pull a book down off the shelf and look it up. Wow. It was a wonderful doctor, but he wasn't afraid of looking it up. Sometimes we're just afraid to do that. Well, I've had to return to this mindset many times, especially when learning new technology. There's been a lot, or navigating unfamiliar paths. And there's been a lot there too. And today, this is more important than ever with the speed of AI and the different tools that we can use. There have been many moments of frustration and moments of doubt, but also moments of breakthrough. And those moments I have taken to have to learn and grow, that's one of my strengths. And that's one of the advantage of me of being at the stage of life I'm at now. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I have gone through these processes over and over and I can help others through them as well. Progress doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from staying engaged. So I'm going to give you some practical applications, some small steps that create momentum. Make sure you get the article that comes with this and that you can actually review these in print, that you can see the actual, or online, whatever, but you can see these actual small steps to create momentum because you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. In fact, trying to do too much often increases your stress, but instead you want to focus on small intentional steps. There are great books about this, with the Atomic Habits, with the tiny habits. Those are great. That you can read some of those books. I will put some of those links also in the show notes and the article notes. So here's a first application. Identify one area of growth, just one area that aligns with your next chapter. So maybe you're just wondering what that chapter is, but go through maybe the core common denominator. I'll put the graphic into the article, and you can see that. It's a great start to help you identify your skills, your competency, what you love, an idea for your future. So it's a very simple way to determine that. And I even have a free quiz that you can go through that. It's great. A next step that you can do, very simple, very small, commit to 10 to 15 minutes daily building a new constructive habit or developing and expanding a skill. Now, this can be very, very simple. 10 to 15 minutes a day, you can carve that out. Most everybody can. Intentional consistency builds confidence, and this habit can include, maybe it'll include physical exercise that has a side benefit of reducing stress, or taking an online course to expand your skill set. There's little things that you can do. Maybe you'll do it journaling. And number 3, reframe your self-talk. Okay, this is really, really good, really good. Replace "I can't do this" with "I'm learning this." A good way to do this is to create small reminders. I do this all the time. These can include notes to yourself posted in places easily seen, or even notes of reminders on your calendar. Sometimes I'll put little sticky notes. I know those aren't always the best to look at all the time for other people, but it could be good for you to put one sticky note with some sort of reminder, maybe on your computer screen or somewhere where you can easily see it. Put it in a drawer if you want to keep everything neat. At least that it's positive for you to help you focus. And you'll see it and go, oh, yeah. And number 4, reduce noise. This is good. Limit inputs and focus on what truly matters. Actually, I was reading just this morning, there's even some restaurants, I don't know if it'll really take off, but they are asking people to leave their phone, not take it inside or keep it completely off. Reduce the noise, like be with people that have a clear head. Getting outside is one of the best ways to clear the mind. And for me, when I see the growth on the fruit trees on our property, on the roses, as I'm trimming them, but I see all the growth. They're in full bloom again right now. And the beauty of the mountains, it just puts life in perspective to see all of that growth. It's freeing for the mind. It takes away that anxiety. It takes a little bit of that stress away. And then number 5, you want to track your small wins, progress, even very, very small progress. It creates momentum. Celebrate those wins. And for anyone, if you're trying to lose a few pounds, adding a special dessert now and then to celebrate progress, hey, that's a great motivator, especially if it's dark chocolate. That's great. Do that for yourself. All of these are small steps that are very doable and that will eventually create a large leap of progress that will be worth all of the effort. So don't put this off. You need to start now. So here's just a final thought, just brief. Mindset mastery, it's not about eliminating stress. It's about responding to it differently. Because really, with stress, what you're doing is using that stress to create a stronger, reinforced structure. It's got to be able to uphold. And you're not behind and you're not late and you are well positioned. And your next chapter is not something you have to fear. It's something you can build step by step with clarity, curiosity, and a growth mindset, all the while making sure that all parts of that growth are reinforced because you know what? There will be shakeups, but you'll be ready. Oh, thanks so much for joining me. This is so fun for me to do. But it just feeds into my life as well as to yours. These messages are so, so important. I hope you join me every single week. I'm starting to add a few bonus episodes. Make sure you connect with me on our newsletter, goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. All of the notes are in the show notes. And also, I have some online courses. I have some mentorship available for select. You have to apply to do that, but it's so impactful. And if you're at a point where you're really asking what's next and really want some direction moving forward, make sure you don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks again for being with me today, and I look forward to being with you again next time. So, bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I love bringing you insights to help you maximize your skills, resources, and experience at mid-career and beyond so that you can make your next chapter your most impactful and purposeful yet. I'm Deborah Johnson, and I can't wait to be with you again next time on the Power of After show.